How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. A little bit of clay pot jams, cider and beer jams in the form of Allagash Brewing's. It's Terration, probably brewing that Pomar. This is spontaneously fermented beer and cider aged in clay pots. I actually don't know the whole clay pot thing. I know some breweries have been experimenting with it. No, Allagash is doing it. I know that Hill Farmstead just got a bunch of clay pots. I don't know what that brings. I assume it's just another vessel for open fermentation as opposed to a cool ship or something like that, but kind of decided to give this a whirl. I'm not a huge cider guy. Tends to give me quite a bit of heartburn, but I really do like a blend of cider and beer. Russian Duck does one. One of my favorite ones is King Brewing does their Malice, which is a Belgian kind of dark, Belgian double-ish kind of beer that they use. Instead of Belgian candied sugar, they use reduced apple cider, so I'm kind of excited to give this a whirl. Comes courtesy of my boy Max. Thank you very much, brother. It says here, spontaneously fermented beer and cider aged in clay pots on the back here. We have Terration Pomar blends 3 traditions in brewing: winemaking and cider pressing in clay pots. Historically used in winemaking, we age a combination of wild and spontaneously fermented ale with local pressed cider while resting in clay. The beer blend developed a flavor that was combined aromas of fresh lemon zest and tart apple, a hint of minerality, and a well-rounded funk from our spontaneously fermented beer. Old world technique, a new generation of brewing. Yeah, this is from May 23rd, 2019, so you're talking May, June, July, August, September, so we're about 4 months deep on this one. 7.3% alcohol by volume. Let's crack her open. It's been a while since I've reviewed an Allagash beer. Oh yeah, nice little pop on that. So now, apple cider vinegar really is, it's not my jam. So when you're talking about a cider and you're talking about a funky beer, I'm just hoping it doesn't lean too far in that direction. Maybe a little sparkling apple cider would be a little bit more of my speed, but we'll see what's what. Label-wise, it's actually one of my favorite labels Allagash has ever done. It's a departure from what they typically do, and I really do dig it. Let's see. I mean, what does that look like? I mean, it looks like a, spontaneously fermented saison, wild, etc., beer that hasn't been dosed with a bunch of adjunct like fruit or flowers or something to make it turn color. It just has that nice straw color to it, soft carbonation. Done and done. Let's see if we get a nose. It definitely has apple cider vinegar vibes. There's a decent amount of acidity in there. Soft apple cider vinegar notes. That's probably a combination of your cider and the beer kind of throwing all of that at me. It's got this nice tartness to it. Definitely apple skins all the way. Apple skins, apple flesh, a little bit, there's a lot of tannic kind of qualities in here too, like kind of like skin, like skins from fruit as opposed to the fleshy parts. Maybe even like I'm getting like a soft, like wheated vibe, so I assume this is a wheat-based beer, an oat, flaked oat kind of thing going on. It smells nice. It smells like a tart acidic saison is what she smells like more than anything else. It smells like a wild beer. Let's dive in. Cheers. Okay. This tastes like something and I can't peg it. It's going to give me heartburn, so it definitely has a decent amount of acidity. It's not enamel ripping acidic. There's a decent amount of acidity to it. Man, what does this taste like? It tastes like something super familiar. Underripenness, that's what it tastes like. You would take like an underripened apple or an underripened pear, you take a big bite of it to where the flesh lacks that kind of sweetness that's developed in the ripened fruit yet. It has that going on. So think about that. It's leaning somewhere in between pear and apple for me, hence the reason why I mentioned those two. Soft, like a soft acidity actually on the palate. It's not overly acidic as far as what you're perceiving, but my innards are telling me otherwise, that the acidity level is a little higher than what you're perceiving here. Soft mouthfeel, a little bit undercarbonated, spontaneously fermented beer. It is what it is. It just really is a just kind of, to me, this is a share beer. This is a pre-dinner, post-dinner, kind of, depending on what you're eating, kind of share beer. You share, about 4 ounces of this with about 4 people, and then you call it a day. That's where this beer lands, almost like a pre-dessert dinner beer. Because it has that kind of, it invokes that kind of idea of fresh fruit, of newness, of brightness, of organicness. It gives you enough acidity to kind of play off a couple different styles of foods and desserts, but at the same time doesn't get too far in one direction, like say a Cascade or something that's like highly acidic, enamel rippingness. It does come off very much like it has a lot of fruit in it, but it doesn't. It's just a really just, you know, yeah, I mean, it's cider, so it technically has fruit in it, but yeah, I like it. I dig it. It does kind of come off somewhere in between a cider, though, you know, and I kind of dig that. And I wouldn't say it's like a wine, but you can get kind of wine elements from it. So when they talk about it being kind of 3 traditions wrapped into one, it does make sense. I feel like you get the vibe of all 3 of those traditions in the beer. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about it. Is it one of the better spontaneously fermented, open fermented, those kind of beers that I've had as of late? It's not towards the top. There's ones that do me a little bit better, ones that are a little bit less acidic, but I like it. I quite like it. I mean, I'm a big Allagash fan, so it kind of gets a little bit of a oomph from the get-go because I'm a big fan of these guys. But as far as my personal palate goes, the way the acidity comes off and whatnot, it's not something that I would love to drink a whole bottle of, but at the same time, I'm really glad I got to try it. And it's not a beer I would ever turn away. It's weird. It's a very personal preference beer. And if someone told me this is one of the best beers they've ever had, I would not go, you're dumb, that's crazy. Not that I would say that anyway, but I could see other people liking this quite a bit. It's just a matter of personal taste that this one just doesn't get right up towards the top to me, even though it's still a really good beer. Value and availability, Allagash. Typically you can get their stuff off shelves, especially even down here. I've never seen this. I don't know how this goes, so maybe Max or somebody up there up north can let us know what's what and leave you with if you like what will you like this beer. If you like Allagash, if you like openly fermented beers, if you like mixed culture beers, and you like a little bit of acidity and a really nice, well-done beer. It's absolutely fantastically well made. Like I said, it's a matter of this being your jam. And if the words that came out of my mouth are your jam, then this will be, guess it, your jam. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers, if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive, if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're a little funky beer right now. And hope to see you next time. Cheers.